You are 22 years old and you just checked your bank account, $412. That is your entire net worth. Somewhere, right now, someone your exact age already has 6 figures sitting in an investment account. Same starting line, same economy, same 24 hours in a day. So what actually separates you from them? It is not talent. It is not luck, not mostly. The real answer is stranger than that, and far more available to you than you have been told. In the early 2000s, a mechanical engineer named Peter Adini was living what looked like an unremarkable life outside Boulder, Colorado. He was not wealthy by inheritance. He was not a startup founder. He had a normal salary, a normal apartment, and one habit that made him abnormal. He saved more than half of everything he earned. Not 10%, not the 15% your bank app recommends. Over half. By the time he turned 30, he had stopped working entirely. Not because he got rich overnight, because he understood something most people never stop to calculate. Your freedom is not measured in dollars earned. It is measured in the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap has a name in behavioral economics. Researchers call it your savings rate, and it matters more than your salary ever will. A person earning $80,000 a year who saves half of it will reach financial independence faster than a person earning $200,000 who saves almost none. This is not a motivational idea. It is arithmetic, and arithmetic does not care how impressive your job title sounds at a dinner party. Here is where it gets interesting. Why do so many high earners still feel broke? The economist Richard Thaler spent decades studying a pattern he called mental accounting. Your brain does not treat all money the same way, even though every dollar spends identically. A raise does not feel like extra savings. It feels like permission. New apartment? Nicer car? A subscription you forgot you were paying for? Researchers have a term for this too. Lifestyle creep. Your spending quietly rises to match your income almost every single time, unless you interrupt the pattern on purpose. And that is the part nobody tells you at 22. Building wealth quickly has almost nothing to do with getting a bigger paycheck. It has everything to do with freezing your lifestyle while your income keeps climbing. Think about the last time you got paid more. Did your savings account grow, or did your life just get a little more comfortable? There is a reason this feels so hard to fight. Daniel Kahneman, the psychologist who reshaped how economists think about decision-making, showed that humans are wired for something called present bias. A dollar spent today feels real. A dollar invested for your future feels abstract, almost imaginary, because the version of you who benefits from it does not exist yet. Your brain protects the person sitting in this chair right now, not the person who will be thanking you in 8 years. This is not a character flaw. It is biology working exactly as designed, just pointed in the wrong direction for a modern financial system that rewards patience. So how do you actually override it? Peter Adeni's answer was almost insultingly simple. He treated his savings rate like a fixed bill, not a leftover. Rent gets paid first. Investments got paid first too, automatically, before a single dollar had the chance to feel like spending money. He was not restricting himself out of misery. He built a life that was already satisfying at a lower cost, then let compounding do the rest of the work in silence. Compounding is the quiet engine underneath every early financial freedom story you have ever heard. Money invested consistently does not grow in a straight line. It grows on a curve, slow and almost invisible at first, then suddenly steep. Warren Buffett, one of the most studied investors alive, did not make most of his fortune in his 20s or 30s. He made the vast majority of it after age 50 because time was doing more work than any single decision he made. The lesson hiding inside that fact is not wait until you are old. It is the opposite. The earlier your money starts compounding, the less effort your later years require. Every year you delay costs you disproportionately more than the year before it. Which brings us to the number most people never calculate, not your salary. Your savings rate, expressed as a percentage, and how many years it actually buys you back. Save 10% of your income, and financial independence sits roughly 50 years away. Save 25%, and it moves closer to 22 years. Save 50%, like Peter Adini did, and that number collapses to somewhere between 15 and 17 years, sometimes less, depending on returns. Save 65%, and you can be looking at under a decade. This is not a guarantee, and markets do not move in straight lines. But historically, this is the shape the math has taken over and over across different decades and different economies. Notice what is missing from that list: income. It barely changes the equation because the equation was never really about how much you make. This is where the story usually gets uncomfortable because it forces a question most people would rather avoid. What are you actually buying with the years of your life? Robert Shiller, the economist known for studying market behavior and irrational exuberance, has pointed out that much of what we buy is not driven by need. It is driven by comparison. We spend to match the people around us, not to satisfy ourselves. A car upgrade because a coworker got one. A vacation posted online that quietly resets what feels normal to you. Economists call this the comparison trap, and it is one of the most expensive psychological habits a person can carry into their 20s because it is invisible while it is happening. So the real first step toward financial freedom before 30 is not a budgeting app, and it is not a side hustle. It is deciding on purpose what number your life actually costs to run. Most people never calculate this. They simply spend whatever arrives, then feel confused about why nothing changes. Once you know that number, everything shifts. Every dollar above it stops being spending money. It becomes a choice between buying something today or buying back a year of your future. That reframing changes behavior in a way discipline alone rarely can. It is not about deprivation. It is about clarity. A $4 coffee is not evil, but a $4 coffee bought without thought every single day for 10 years, invested instead at an average market return, quietly becomes tens of thousands of dollars you never got to use for anything that mattered to you. None of this promises overnight riches, and anyone telling you otherwise is selling something. There is no guaranteed shortcut, and markets can fall as easily as they rise. But historically, a high, consistent savings rate combined with time in the market has been one of the most reliable engines of early financial independence that we have real data on, decade after decade, across very different economic conditions. So go back to that 22-year-old checking a bank account and seeing $412. That number was never really the problem. The problem was never having calculated the one number that actually mattered. The gap between what comes in and what goes out, and deciding deliberately to protect it. Check your bank account again. This time, you are not looking at how much is there. You are looking at how much of it you got to keep.